Hi guys, I am trying to do really interesting series this month. As you notice, I did Gypsy and I did monthlies because we are going into this Mercury Retrograde. So check my Mercury Retrograde video. I'm going to put it somewhere in the corner if I remember, and if not, just cruise my channel. I just post it on the same day. And I figured, because many of you will want to know if their X is coming back. So here is the X series here. X series is still, I guess, on a special. It's not $65, it is still $50, so take advantage of it. Check me on cattarot.ca, www.cattarot.ca. And I also have a speed up promotion, so you get it within a week. So it's a good time to kind of grab it. And also, whatever it is, a general reading here doesn't have to be you. So that's a good news or bad news depending on what the reading is. I am using these cards. They are from a different deck. I have the same cards in this deck. For example, these are just the titles of the book, and they are kind of signifying to me the category. It took me quite a few years to develop the concept that actually works, that I can actually really securely say the answer. So this category here is going to tell me really everything that is going on for you as a couple. This is going to tell me everything that is ungluing you as a couple. So here I'm going to be able to know if your relationship is ever if there is a possibility for ever making it. I'm using the fire here for dating because Queen of Wands and Knight of Wands, whether you're like girl to girl, boy and boy, maybe you should use woman to woman to be politically correct, and I hate being politically correct. And the energies and communication in between. The reason why I'm using Wands is, one, I'm rule breaker. I'm Aquarius, and I don't like to follow things, especially when they don't make sense. So astrology and tarot can be linked together. It does make sense, but when we are dating, we all shift initially, and even when we kind of reunite with someone, we don't go immediately, okay, thanks for coming, I'm going to just sit on a couch and finish my movie. No, we don't go to our regular mode. We are into this dating mode, and that is action, that is fire. So that's why I'm using fire. And these two categories are going to really tell me about the outcome. One, if this is in your best interest, if karma really wants you to do that, and really what is the next step and how is this going to progress. So now when you have this common introduction, please don't ask me why do I have the same cards everywhere, because each and every time it happens. So I was really quick with this, and I'm going to go and start with the reading for each sign. So let's go. Hi Aries, so let's check your stuff here. So this is basically March and April. This is for the entire period of the retrograde, and even the retrograde is only from the 22nd to the 15th. We still have shadow periods 3 weeks before and 3 weeks after, so we technically are in the shadow, and I can already feel it. So let's kind of look at the time periods. Each of the time periods is going to be about week to 10 days. So what I'm seeing here, I am seeing the tendency to kind of there is still love over here with some of you, and there is also probably shifting from long-term relationship to I don't know, to being single. The Page of Swords also jumped out previously, and you had the Devil jumping out, saying really there is this big longing for this person. And you have, look, the Death card right next to the Hierophant, and Hierophant is a marriage card, and it's coming here reversed. So that's what I'm saying. It's a long-term relationship or something that has ended that is resonating pretty heavily on you. This is telling me that yeah, you're Aries, and this is going to be a very difficult for you. And I'm really sorry to tell you, again, I'm tooting my own horn, but private readings are the best to overcome this, because Mercury retrograde in Aries is very difficult, very, very difficult, because you are the sign that tends to have this knee-jerk reaction, tends to tell people off, not so much because you are aggressive, which you are aggressive by the nature, but it's because this is much easier than to deal with the pain that is inside. Now, look at this. You have the two tens. You have 10 of wands and 10 of cups. One talks about issues with the family. Something is off. Something is not working out. Somebody's pretending to be happy. I think this is your partner. It's kind of like both of you didn't land on your feet properly, or both of you are feeling really suffering. Page of Swords came reversed while I was shuffling, and that kind of means that somebody is spying, checking social media. That's very, very typical for Mercury retrograde. I like the orange pen better than the white one. White one is like much, much heavier. I think it's like 4 or 5 times heavier than this one, but I don't know, maybe a fire sign. This kind of makes more sense. So who is the Queen of Cups, guys? Queen of Cups is that very emotional person who is mother, who is lover, who likes pets, but she's not fire. This might not be you. Is this basically telling me that you have to be a little bit more emotional, that maybe you overly reacted, or maybe that you're pulling yourself inside? Because this is coming in a category of what works, and this is coming in a category of what doesn't work. So what works is vulnerability. You guys are not very vulnerable, and I can relate to that because I have a moon in Leo. So when fire sign gets hurt, the tendency is to feel proud. The tendency is not to show it, which I see it over here very well. So either of these significators can be you, but that card is telling me about some kind of transformation. Something has to end. This has to end. There is no way. Something reached its limit and it cannot continue. This is telling me that the problem here is feeling, both parties feel kind of off, and the reason is like that. I think there was not significant communication about the matter. You know, like sometimes you just come to an impasse, it's a status quo, and that's it. You can just simply cave in or realize this cannot be worked out. In your case, this is talking about the truth needs to come out, and this is exactly the truth that I do not want to come out during the Mercury retrograde, because it can be too harsh. It, you know, like when it's just like paper cut, even small little kind of like trigger words can set somebody off. But 3 majors, something really, really strongly is affecting all of you. So let's see what is possibility of happening next. Yeah, look at the sadness, instability, feeling not on your feet. Gosh, I was dreaming about this card last night, and you know, my dream was, it's kind of weird. Somebody was showing me this card, and I was at a university lecture I was giving from all subjects on tarot, and somebody said, well, you know, maybe this tarot card means anxiety and sadness. I said, yeah, I usually tell to my viewers that this is like my wash machine brain, where you keep spinning the same thing over and over. Oh, why in the world did he do that? Why couldn't he realize how much I love him? Or why would she not see how good I am for her? That's kind of like a train of thought in here, but that's usually a situation that you're very familiar with, that can be found a way out. And for some reason in that lecture, in my dream, I was saying, this is kind of really funny. Now when you're showing me this card, I'm realizing that when I'm laughing really hard, I put my face in my palms. So for some reason, you're getting this card right next to the devil. And it could definitely talk about this misunderstanding, because look at this. Look at the arguments here, not going anywhere, ending up in a sadness. There is a lesson that has to be learned here, because you have the Hangman reversed and you have the Moon. So it is very hard to see things from other person's kind of like viewpoint when you're hurt, and somebody's really, really hurt over here, and really almost like very depressed, I would say. You see, the devil, like we have like these, what they call them, divorce cards. We have the Death and the Justice and the Hierophant. All of them are here, feeling all over the place. Oh my gosh, why is this happening? And kind of like feeling the brunt of these arguments that are so heavy. It is kind of like really hard to take them. It's kind of like hard to process them, and it's like not something that you feel. It's kind of weird. Maybe you're going to attack it head on, and maybe it's going to be, oh, I don't care. This card also can talk about a third party situation, guys, and argumentativeness, and finally being fed up and saying, I'm not going to take it. Aries usually don't tolerate third party. It is like, it's me. If I'm not good enough, that's too bad, because I should be good enough, and I'm really good as it gets, right? So now this is really interesting, especially for the ladies. The King of Pentacles is showing up here, because this is my kind of husband card, and for some reason this is really telling me more about the relationships than anything else, but sort of like really, really solid relationships, not just like 3-4 month kind of dating. So let's see what happens. The Justice card is talking about legalities. The Justice card talks about, see, she has this merchant scale, and she's not blind. She totally knows what the hell she's doing, right? I told you. Same thing here. You know the solution. It's like, oh, you know, I have very commonly asked, oh, well, there's a third party, what do I do? And sometimes I'm being asked by the third party. Sometimes the third party is not aware that they are the third party, because of course you're being told, no, no, I'm leaving the husband, I'm leaving the wife, and I will be with you. So everybody's being kind of lured, and that's why when the Moon card shows up, that kind of like indicates this kind of situation as well. So each party wants kind of like their thing. And it's almost like, instead of like, what is the right thing here for me and what is the right thing for everybody, this question becomes, what is the right thing for me? And this is when the Hangman kind of comes up and say, listen, you have to figure out what is the right thing for everybody, because it looks like there is lots of blame going around, and kind of like you have to focus. You do know the answer. If you do not want to be in a third party situation, it is a very easy way to remedy that. Is it painless? Nope. But it's easy. It just takes delete on a phone. This, however, I don't think for some of you is going to be as easy, because I see that this could be legalities in the whole thing, because this is a husband, and it looks like that somebody still wants to stay in this relationship. Kind of like twice. I also have Taurus. I have Taurus, Scorpio, Pisces connection here for some reason coming up, and even a little bit of Libra, and I don't know why is that. And usually these signs are like talking about the money division and money kind of involvement in this whole situation, because this is not exactly you. And the devil feels that one party really doesn't see the way out. Look at this darkness. We see this like huge darkness. So this is really costing both of you quite a bit. So let me see what would come next and what to expect. So we have the World, the Four of Wands, just like there. We have Ace of Wands, King of Wands reversed. We have Seven of Wands and Seven of Pentacles reversed, and Eight of Cups reversed. So sevens and fives, and even when the fives just contain a number like this one, 15, I never okay, we have a 5, 5 and 5, and here we have a 7 and a 7. It's not a good news. And even the 8, when it reverses, when it's going backward, it's going towards 7. It's going toward this. So sevens and fives are unstable, right? So if you have a house, you have 4 corners. These 4 corners are something that you can kind of like put the pressure on, and it's going to spread equally because it's kind of like structured. So now if you take it out, one thing to stick, all of a sudden this pressure is just basic physics. it's not going to be able to kind of disperse symmetrically, and hence that that thing happens. But in tarot, in Kabbalah, these 5s and 7s do exist for a reason. They exist because they want to tell us. You have this big 5 here that's kind of commanding its presence, right? This big 5 is saying, follow my rule. You need to kind of do it my way. And so there are some rules here that haven't been followed. There is some kind of issue that is maybe really, really affecting you on some kind of level. Whether it is like you want to feel right, so this is why this is warning you. Are you guys really thinking that there is something in this situation that you have been wronged? Because if this is the case, you have to see if you have been wronging anybody else in a situation. So I'm sorry to keep going around this so many times, but this is kind of like coming out as a very, very loud message over here, right? So another thing that I'm seeing over here is the World card. When the World card appears upright, it's a really good news. It means that even though this has been painful and going through everything, some kind of lesson have been learned. See this King of Wands, this fellow that maybe is married fellow? Maybe this is what this telling me, that maybe some of you are involved with somebody who is either married or in a relationship, that kind of like they did put a ring on it. It's not about love anymore when you are in a relationship like that. It's about the children, it's about the possession, because you're merging two lives together. And sure, sometimes people feel stuck, as obviously there is the sense of that here, but it doesn't mean that they will get out just because they feel stuck. And that's something you have to figure out, how valid is your life to you. Because this is telling me that there is this issue with this person going to the next level, and that was the issue. So now this is calling you, okay, you're turning a new leaf. You're writing a new book. What is going to be in this book? Are you going to be with this fellow? Is this so important? Or, because look at this, somebody is very defensive. Nope, no, I want it this way. I told the 7s are unstable. So what are these two 7s telling me, right? This is telling me I'm insisting on my way. Now look at his face. He is, and I have to zoom it in for you because not every deck shows this, and that's why I like this Rider's White. Look at it. You can kind of like totally hear the sound. I'm this way and it has to be this way and I don't care. And this is not growing because of this. Because when you are with two people, yeah, sure, sometimes somebody can be obnoxious and take this whole relationship completely out of balance, and then karma card steps in. It is a karmic relationship, guys. You do want a second chance. You do want to make it to the next level, absolutely. But not with the way they are, and they are the way they are, and they won't insist to be this way. They are just willing to tell you, nope, I can stop by at 2 o'clock in the morning, I will tell you I love you, but I'll leave. You see, it's going to be really being torn in between the things, understanding that this cannot go forward and yet coming back. And the reason why I see this coming back, or possibly you guys even uniting and continuing with this, is that emotional lesson has to be learned, and that's why the karma card is showing up here. This is putting things in balance, and even if you feel that you're on the receiving end, there is a lesson in it, and you have to ask yourself, what is it? Because it's telling me that this is the key in this period, learning that lesson. So my dear Aries, as I said, this could be you. That doesn't have to be you whatsoever. So for your private reading, please check my website, www.cattarot.ca. Check on the link specials, because I have 2 specials. I have a speed up special and I have this special. So just take advantage of it. Thanks so much. Love you.